Hey guys, Andy here. So you might be wondering, why am I making a weight loss video in a tech channel? Which is a fair question. And really, I suppose there's two different reasons. One is that people have noticed and asking, wow, you've lost a lot of weight, looking good, which I really appreciate the comments, really nice. Thank you very much. And so I thought, well, I'll just give a bit of, maybe I can help some other people. And I'm only really, I'm no expert. I'm going to state that right at the beginning. I'm no expert, but I'm just going to kind of talk about what I've done. But more importantly, to answer the question is I'm going to talk about the tech that I've used that's helped me do this. I suppose then the other thing is, why am I losing weight? Well, if you're a regular subscriber, you might have seen I was quite overweight. And I suppose I hadn't really, because I'm quite a large guy. People tell me I carry the weight quite well, I suppose. I'm 6'3", and I'm quite a big guy. I lift weights, people didn't ever really say, or, I mean, I suppose they're not necessarily going to say, you're a fat bleeder, aren't you? But I don't know, I didn't even really notice it myself until I watched one of the videos of my own videos where I was outside, I was doing the car vacuum video, and it was filming me, and I was kind of crouched down and operating the vacuum. And I watched that back and realised, wow, I'm way bigger than I've ever been. I mean, I shouldn't have needed the video to tell me. I do weigh myself reasonably often. And when I say that, kind of probably monthly, I guess, at least. And I suppose just because I sort of carry the weight well, I hadn't really twigged. And I guess as it happens, it's a gradual thing as well. You don't really notice. But seeing that video gave me a bit of a shock, I suppose, in some ways. So I thought, yeah, that's not okay. That's not okay to be that size. I need to do something about it. Now, what I'm going to talk about kind of relies on a couple of different things. One is, I suppose, I love tech. I must have a couple. It's probably three. I love tech. I'm quite strong-willed when I decide something. I'm pretty good at sticking to it. And three, I'm very competitive, even if that's kind of with myself. So if you sort of fit to two or three or all three of those, then this hopefully would work for you as well. So losing weight, it's nothing it's nothing complicated. You consume calories eating food, you burn calories doing things, and all we need to do is lower the incoming calories and increase the outgoing calories. It really is that simple. There's loads of, I mean, I don't want to call them fad diets, that's probably doing them an injustice, but there's loads of these sort of funky diets like the keto diet, and I mean, I can't even remember what they're called. I don't really pay much attention to them. They're basically all based on the calorie deficit, which is where you're burning more calories than you're consuming. If you're burning more calories than you're consuming, it's going to start burning the fat away instead. Now, some of them, I've read a little bit about the keto, and there's other benefits, I think, to the things you eat give you other benefits, as well as you maintain that calorie deficit. And I'm not, like I say, I'm not an expert, so I'll let you look into if you really want to do one of those particular types of diet. What I don't like is they kind of rule out certain things. A lot of diets rule out, so some of them rule out carbs, for example. Seems a little bit odd to me. That's supposed to be quite a portion of your diet. But yeah, so you're not allowed to do that, you're not allowed to do this. I had burgers yesterday, I had fajitas a few days back, I'm eating chips most Sundays. I'm eating still, to an extent, what I want to eat. But I'm just limiting the calories. You burn a certain amount of calories every day just by living. There's various different websites where you can put in all your details and it'll tell you how many calories it thinks you consume just by existing, really, by pumping blood around your body. Mine, I think, is around 2,500 calories to 3,000 calories. I don't have the exercise aside. I don't have a particularly active lifestyle. So I'm on my feet for a few hours of it, but a lot of it I'm sat behind a desk. So it's about 2,500, maybe to 3,000 because I'm a bigger person that I normally burn. So it's about making sure you come in underneath that to then burn the fat. So with that, let's move on to kind of controlling the calorie intake. So we get to the first app for controlling my calorific intake, and it's MyFitnessPal, which seems to be a fairly commonly used app for tracking calories. There is arguments about, I hear somebody saying, a lot of people say it just doesn't work, counting calories doesn't work. I don't see how it can't. Again, we're talking about outgoing and incoming, just making sure the incoming is less than the outgoing, it's just logical, really. So MyFitnessPal, we're going to move over to the diary section, and this is where we're logging our foods. So we can go back to yesterday, for example. For me, we can see everything that I ate at breakfast, everything that I ate at lunch, my dinner, and then just different snacks that I had, which I also put stuff in, like the little tablets I use when I'm cycling in the water, banana I had before I went out, and an apple I had at some point, and then my cereal I always have before I go to bed. It links into Strava, which we're going to come to in a little while, so it brings in any exercise I do, and it counts the calories coming inwards in there. So my goal at the moment is 2140. Yesterday I ate 2340, but I exercised 943, therefore I had a deficit of 739. And it's as simple as that. So this morning I had my porridge, I had half a protein bar and a Granny Smith apple, but that's all after I'd been out for an 18-mile ride at a reasonable pace, which burnt off 1,105 calories. I love the app though because it lets you scan products, so you can turn on the barcode scanner. You literally scan a barcode and it will just bring it into the app for you. You just then need to get the portion correct. So, for example, oven chips, look. So I had them yesterday and I had to kind of guess a little bit. So it's a serving size, one portion, 165 grams per serving. And I thought, well, I mean, I had a reasonably large portion, so I went for 1.2. I could easily just change that to 0.8, and it changes the calories and all the nutrients. I'll go back to 1.2. You can change it to, and this one you can't, sorry, most of them, you can change it to be just like 1 gram, and then you can put exactly how many grams in the number of servings. So a serving is 1 gram, you go, well, I had 90 servings. So it's very simple to add things in. It remembers things you've had before, so when you start searching for them, I don't know if I start searching protein. So a protein bar, protein brownie, these are all things that I have eaten. So it's quite quick and easy to add things in. You can change your target quite easily. I'm on the free version, I should point out as well. You can pay to get more. So here we are, goals. I think it's in goals. So you can set your sort of current goal. I have my weight being imported from the scales that I use, the Withing scales, which I've done a video of recently. So there we go, look, weekly goal, lose £1 per week, and again you can change that to whatever you want. So initially I had it set to £2 per week, and you can say how active you are. So I went with not very active, but again, I mean, I could argue that I'm lightly active, but it's more about this is just a way that rather than you typing in, well, I want my target to be 2140, it kind of tells you want roughly this much as a target. So in fact, let's come back to that, and let's say that if I just wanted to maintain my weight, and if I was a bit more generous and said that I was lightly active, it should then, so there you go, 2930. So that's how much I could eat and not add weight if I was lightly active. Now obviously I'm exercising anyway, so, but I let that count itself when it gets imported in, well, the cycling, that is. So let's go back to £1. That puts my target back. Well, that's weird. Oh yeah, because it'll recalculate slightly because my weight has obviously keeps coming down. So the last time I set the goal was about a week ago, and I've lost about 40 calories because I've lost weight. The other thing is, if we go to me at the bottom, so it also tells me there, like, I've lost 55 pounds. So I started at 302 pounds and I'm down to 246.8 pounds, and my target is 238. So that's quite a nice kind of graphical display of where we're going. And here are the goals again. But I was more interested in my items. So you can set up meals, you can set up recipes. So in the meals, tuna, whole wheat, pasta and salad. So in there, I've already added in all the different kind of ingredients and components, really. You didn't realize you could add directions to making it. So then when I want to add it to my diary, if I went in and put, I forgot what it's called now, but I can go to recipes, or I can go to meals. There it is. I like that it stores things like yesterday's lunch, so if I ate something that I'm going to eat it again, I can just hit that and bring it straight back in. I've got a tuna salad as well, so you can add them in nice and easy from there. There's also recipes which, to be honest, are just very similar. So I've got the smoothies. I started off when I was doing weight loss, I was making smoothies all the time. And again, you can see in there everything that's used. Have I got semi-skim milk in there twice? I think I have. It's not right. Anyway, So yeah, I love the recipes and the meals. The meals you can even add photos to, so if you forget what they are, I don't know, weird, but yeah, why not? So yeah, that generally, I just find it so helpful. And I also find that when you start scanning items, so I'll find myself in the shop and I'll just go, oh, I wonder what that is, and you scan the barcode and you can see. I mean, it's on the packet anyway, but I don't know, just quite handy to scan things and see what's involved. You really become more aware about the calories in food, which I never really paid any attention to. I used to have an almond croissant before bed every night until I realised that it was 450 or 460 calories. Not anymore. So then, because of this, I just started looking more about what it was that I ate. So it's not just about the quantity of what you're eating and getting that smaller. It's changing the foods that you are eating to be healthier foods. I mean, sounds obvious, but but it's things like, so instead of semi-skimmed milk, and I'm not saying skimmed milk because you might as well drink water, put water on your cornflakes. But I started trying to use almond milk, because actually 100 ml of semi-skimmed milk is about 60 calories and 100 ml of almond milk is about 20 calories. That's quite a big difference. And if I'm making porridge for my breakfast, which I do these days, using almond milk, I don't really notice any difference in the taste of the porridge over the semi-skimmed milk. I can even almost drink almond milk. I mean, not in big quantities. I used to love drinking milk, semi-skimmed milk, but there's quite a lot of sugar in there, and fat and things and whatever, and calories generally. And almond milk is a healthier option. So, you're looking for replacements like that. So even my porridge, I have normal porridge oats, and I think yesterday I bought sort of more of a whole wheat version of the porridge oats. Pasta, I bought some pasta yesterday, which again was more of the whole wheat version rather than just the regular white pasta. Fruit and veg smoothies are a reasonable option. I'm not a big fan of fruit and veg, but blend them all up into a smoothie with a little bit of honey and a bit of yogurt and some oats in there, some porridge oats in there, and actually it's quite a filling drink. I moved on from smoothies, I guess because I'm just massively lazy perhaps, and they take like 5 minutes to make, to Huel. And in some ways, because Huel, they say, is more nutritional. So Huel, I did a video a week or so back. It's kind of a meal replacement shake. It's a bit like a protein shake, but like on drugs. Not literally on drugs, but just like, whoa, even sort of bigger and better than a protein shake with like all the nutrients. In theory, you can kind of live off this Huel. I think they talk about it being a futuristic food because there's no waste, because you just make what you need, etc., etc. But actually, I really do quite like it. It's quite nice and simple. And when I get home, let's say I've been to work, then I go out for a ride, and I get home and I'm not massively hungry, but I just do a couple of scoops of Huel into a shaker, and actually it keeps me going until the evening when I have some cereal before bed. Protein bars are another good option. Again, if you're exercising, protein bars have a reasonable mix. Obviously, they're high in protein. That's why they're protein bars. But they're better than just having, I don't know, like a Mars bar or something. It's got specific protein, but other good things in it. So you just really start looking at. I think it's kind of almost natural when you're progressing like this to start looking at what you are eating and picking out the better foods or switching out the bad foods and replacing them with better ones. So then we get to exercise. We've talked about kind of controlling the intake, and hopefully we're limiting that to a decent amount already. Then we want to get out there and exercise and just move more to burn more. For me, what's really worked is cycling. Now, I've got a bad knee, I can't go jogging, but cycling is fine. It's low impact, it's nice and smooth, and I'm quite lucky where I live as well, because although I'm in London, I'm not far from the countryside. Literally I can cycle for 5 minutes, I can be surrounded by fields, which is great. And what I would say is get out there and actually cycle. I know it's going to cost a bit more. So a lot of people, I'm sure, have gym memberships, and they'll go to the gym and they'll sit on an exercise bike. So I used to, when I go to the gym, I'd be on the exercise bike for 20 minutes before I start lifting weights. But I mean, even 20 minutes was quite hard work for me. Not hard working physically. In fact, physically it was probably too easy. But just I lose interest. It's quite boring, basically, sitting on an exercise bike. I don't get that cycling. It's very weird, really, in some ways. I cycled for an hour and a quarter this morning. You don't get bored. I'm listening to podcasts, which we'll come to in a moment. And time just passes by. You're out there in the countryside. Hopefully it's nice weather, the sun's out. And it's just, I don't know, just the passing scenery and just things that's going on around you all the time mean that you just don't get bored. So if you've not tried it, you could get a half decent bike for £200 or £300, which I know is a bit of an investment, but if it's for your home fitness, then surely it's money well spent. So that would be kind of step one, I think, really. I would say get out there and do it. And if you don't want to spend the money, maybe you can jog. If you haven't got bad knees like me, maybe you can go jogging, and that will be, wherever I talk about cycling, just insert jogging. So this is where the competitive element comes in. I use Strava. Now, Strava is it's an app, really, that just tracks all of your activities like cycling or jogging or walking. And it keeps stats. It keeps kind of average speeds, top speeds, heart rates, if you use a heart rate monitor, which I do. It gives you even a sort of what's it called? Is it a stress score? Not stress, I don't think was the word. Effort, really, I think. Effort rating, perhaps. Which is, if you have a heart rate monitor, it sort of tells you how hard you've made your body work, which I find very handy. But the reason I talk about being competitive is because they also have segments in Strava. So, I go off on a ride wherever, someone already, or you can make them yourself, will have said, right, from this point to this point, that's a segment. I'm calling this segment Green Hill Drag Race, is one of my favourites, down going south from where I am. And it's marked on the map. So as you enter that segment, effectively, the time starts, and you cycle through, and you get to the end of the segment, and the time stops. And it will tell you after, okay, that segment took you 1 minute 32 seconds. The next time you cycle it, it says, you've got a new personal record, it took you 1 minute 25. And then you find yourself chasing the PRs on these segments. Now, if you wanted to, I went out and bought a very good cycle computer, the Wahoo Element. The Wahoo make a few different ones, choose whichever you do best. Obviously, I made a video about this. As I'm cycling, this tells me, right, you're approaching Green Hill Drag Race. It's 800 feet away, 600 feet away, 400 feet away, 200, go! And it literally is on the screen, go! And you start pedaling and pedaling. And it will tell you sort of how far you are in. So, there's a timer, I should say. Sorry, there's a timer. It shows you your PR on the screen. It shows you your projected current finishing time. So if it was 1:25 as your PR, it says, right, you're going to finish in 1:22. And it says you're 3 seconds ahead. It also gives you sort of a kind of a live update on how you're doing. And for me, that's massively motivational because I'm competitive, even if it's against myself. So if I've previously cycled this segment in 1 minute 25, I want to beat that. And even 4 months in now, I'm still chasing segments and getting PRs. I got one yesterday on a segment I've ridden 50 times, and I hadn't ridden all that hard for most of the ride, and it's near the end of this segment. I thought, right, I'm going for it on this one, and I mean my quads were burning. It's only like a minute long, but it's a sprint, which I'm a bit better at than the longer stuff. And I was going for it. And I took another 3 or 4 seconds off, got it down to 51 seconds. I'm now 16th in the world all time. I mean, in the world, it's in Barnet. But there's like 2,500 people have cycled this thing, and I've done it quicker than all but 15 of them, which is amazing. That's the kind of thing that motivates me. And also, Strava, it makes it so easy to track your progress. Even just the average speed. I was looking earlier today. Some of the rides I did when I started in March, the average speed was 10 miles an hour, 10.1. The one I did today was 15.1. You can't compare directly because they were different routes, different sort of, the gradients can kill you, and obviously you know you're coming down again at some point, but still, that's a massive difference. And I got a faster bike now, but that also helps. But if you're into sort of stats and you're competitive, Strava's amazing. Strava's fantastic. It's so motivational. The other sort of tech that it sort of is cycle related are my Aftershokz Treks Air. So again, I've made a video about these, but the benefit is, so people will tell you when you're cycling you shouldn't have things in your ears. You want to be able to hear the traffic, could be dangers around you that you're not aware of. And to be fair, there was once I did almost kill myself, and it was my fault because I didn't realise someone was going, they were breaking the speed limit big time because I was doing over 30 miles an hour and I was going to turn right and I was slowing up, and as I went they whizzed around me and whoa, and it probably shocked me. But it's my fault because I should have been checking behind me, and I don't even know if I indicated. I think I was going so fast I'm thinking no one's going to be able to be overtaking me, but there was. Anyway, so the idea is these don't actually cover your ear. You might not be able to hear me as I'm talking outside, but they work from bone conduction, so they vibrate through your skull rather than in your actual ear. So your ears are still open to hear the world around you. They're about £100. I'll try and remember to put a link to all the tech that I'm talking about in the video description down below. But I think they're actually really well worth the money if you're a cyclist or a jogger, because I think they're going to be safer. As much as people say, well, it's not that dangerous, which it's arguable how dangerous it is to have your ears covered, it's still probably better to be able to hear the outside world around you. So I also do still go to the gym. That's been my kind of, won't say lifelong, but since about 13, I've been going to gyms really on and off at times. And I still go, and I use the app GFit because that just lets me log what I'm doing. But what I do like is it's got a kind of a timer from one set to the next. So when I say, right, yeah, I've done that set, I did 8 reps of 50 kilograms complete. It starts a timer from 40 seconds counting down. You put your phone in your pocket, you listen to music, whatever, and it will beep at you when it's time to start again. So through that, I think I keep my heart rate quite high because I'm moving quite quick through the gym because of that. And you can change the timer to be whatever you want, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds. Mine is normally 40 seconds. So I recommend GFit. And when I'm in the gym, I use my Jabra Elite Sport. Now the Jabras, they get quite a lot of good press. The 65Ts are sort of said to be some of the best wireless, totally wireless earphones you can get. The Elite Sport are a little bit different because at the sort of front of the right-hand earbud is basically a heart rate monitor. So you can link that into the Jabra app and you can just track your heart rate. So when I'm in the gym, I know my average heart rate is around 112, 115. When I'm cycling, I know my average heart rate is around 140. So for me, I know that for sort of losing weight, I am better off cycling, but I like to try and keep some muscular shape, I suppose, by lifting weights in the gym. Then within the tech, I'm just going to mention kind of like podcasts. So you can listen to music. The aftershocks aren't great for listening to music. They're really good for listening to podcasts, though. Voices sound really good, even though they're not going through your ear, they're going through your bones. So there are, thousands of podcasts out there, including my own, that you can listen to which help pass the time when you're out cycling or jogging. If you've never listened to things from the TWIT network, TWIT, have a look there. They do some great weeklies. They're mainly weekly podcasts, I think, about technology. So if you're watching my channel, you're probably into technology. I listen to a few about sports, a few NFL ones. There's a few I've just started. So I've started, is it the Nutrition Diva? Literally started today listening to that. I quite like that. It talks about sort of what you should eat and things to be careful of, and some really good tips. Again, I've only listened to like 1 or 2 episodes, but they seem pretty good. So yeah, if you haven't really listened to podcasts before, my own personal podcast player recommendation is Beyond Pod. I think I reviewed that like literally years ago. That was probably on Hemorrhoids, my old channel, that I reviewed that. But it lets you build a smart playlist. So if you've got all these different categories like tech, sports, news, entertainment, you can build a smart playlist that says, right, I want to listen to the most recent sports episode first. Then I want to listen to the oldest entertainment podcast. Then on the newest tech or whatever. You can, literally you can be specifically this podcast first as well. If you've got one that as soon as the new episode you want, like my own, that you want to hear that straight away, you can put that right at the top. So then it was to this one. And then you just do, right, create a smart play, and it builds your playlist, and then off you go. It's almost like your own kind of radio station with your own, you've given your priorities to all the different shows and it'll play them in that order. So Beyond Pod is highly recommended for that. Also, things like Pokemon Go, and you might kind of joke a little bit because they're for kiddies, you might say, or Harry Potter Wizards Unite. I actually think they're really good. I've never cycled as much. Well, now I have, but previously I never cycled as much as when that came out a couple of years ago. And I would go out on the bike with my phone on the handlebars, just riding around to the gyms, they were called gyms, and collecting Pokemon and going to Pokestops and things. And it made me cycle, I cycle to the gym. Normally I used to just cycle straight to the gym, but then when Pokemon Go came out, I'd probably do like a 4-mile ride to get to the gym because I'd be playing Pokemon Go. So just any excuse really to get out there and exercise, even if it's just walking somewhere as well. It sounds obvious, but walk to work. If it's only a mile and a half, it's a half an hour walk and a 5-minute drive, well, just set off a bit early and walk. It's all burning calories. And again, when you're using MyFitnessPal and you start seeing these calorie burnings come in, come off, go into the app, that kind of motivates you. Well, actually, I'm going to walk. I know it's half an hour, but just think that's going to put me that's going to be 400 calories that's going to come off my deficit. So just get out there is the main thing for the exercise. So I've waffled on way more than I thought I was going to. I don't even know how long this is now, but it was a lot longer than I was expecting it to be. But hopefully it's been of some use to you. Do let me know in the comments down below. Let us know where you're starting at, perhaps even, and we can kind of track with you how you get on. I do find I talk to people a lot about my kind of weight loss. I don't think it's my fault. I think a lot of them do say, oh, you've lost a lot of weight, haven't you? And then that just opens the conversation because visibly I have lost a lot of weight. It's 4 stone in 4 months now. We're about 4 days short of the actual 4-month marker. And technically I'm 0.4 of a pound off the 4 stones, but I was 21 stone, 8.4 pounds on the 10th of March. And this morning, which is the 6th of July, I was 17 stone 8.8 pounds. So I am losing about a stone every month because I'm limited. My deficit is pretty massive most days, to be honest. So it's going to happen, isn't it, I suppose? Willpower. I heard it in one of my podcasts that I was listening to this morning. That I've added health podcasts recently. I'm always hearing these amazing things. One of them was that willpower works like a muscle. It's scientifically proven that the more you use it successfully, the stronger it gets. I thought it was quite interesting. Like I said, my willpower I think is quite strong, but what are they saying you should do? Click your fingers 50 times, count it. That apparently helps you strengthen your willpower. I don't get that bit, but anyway, you do need strong willpower for this. If you can't turn your nose up at a donut and you have to eat it, you're going to really struggle. At the same time, there are times that you're tracking your calories and you think, I'm going to treat myself, I'm having this. As I think I said earlier, I'd still have kebab and chips on a Sunday night, and I've had pizza. It's not about being a robot. It's just about having some willpower and controlling that intake. Cycling can be dangerous, as I kind of mentioned, so just bear that one in mind. Please, everyone, be safe out there, because I'd hate to hear someone been knocked off because they cycled because of me to lose weight. But generally, the benefits are they're massive. It's a bit obvious, but I do literally feel lighter on my feet. If I sort of run up some stairs now, because I'm carrying so much less weight and I'm healthier and fitter, I don't get to the top going, oh, just give me a minute. I get to the top and you barely even notice. I don't feel so. It used to be end of the day at a shift at work. Quite often I feel quite tired. Doesn't really happen now. Generally I feel quite good and I'm raring to get out there on the bike. I do have a bad knee and a bad back. I tore a disc in my back playing American football years ago. I don't think I've struggled as much with those since I've lost the weight and I've got fitter. And it's just a great way to start the day for me, in my opinion. So Saturday today, my day off. It's a bit cloudier now, but there was nice blue skies when I woke up. I was actually quite keen and eager to get out there on the bike. I spent an hour and a quarter, cycled 18.5 miles, set loads of PRs, had my fastest ride ever on the average speed, and I came back and I just felt great. I felt really good. It just feels like you've accomplished something. You feel good physically. There's just so many benefits. So if you've been thinking about it for a little while, I could lose a few pounds, or do it, please do it. Do leave any comments you have down below if you have any questions. As I said, I'm not an expert, and in fact, to be fair, if you've got some good tips, please leave them in the comments below. If you've got tips on, I think snacks are a great idea. So I love a Granny Smith apple if I fancy a snack, or a banana perhaps. I'm not as big a banana fan, but rather than a bag of crisps, which is going to be 120 calories, I have a Granny Smith apple, which is 55, and I don't know the specific details, but it's going to be better for me, I'm sure. So if you've got some comments or some great ideas for snacks, please put those down below, or any knowledge you have, please drop them below in the comments. Hopefully this has been helpful for you. For now, my name's Andy. I'll catch you all again soon. Well done, and thank you for making it to the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, you might want to click the little fellow that should hopefully appear about here to subscribe. You may also want to check out some of my other videos, which are going to appear somewhere there. Also, come and have a look at my website, androidandy.uk. There is also a forum. Come and say hello on the forum. If you've got any questions about things, or request me to review things, or anything else, just come and have a chat on the forum.